Good morning, all. Good morning. Whoopee. I'm Dave Hackett. I'm a member of your Board of Trustees, and it's my pleasure to welcome you this morning. This is my first time up as board announcer, so be kind. All right. Yeah. Um, okay. There's a substantial script. And anyway, my pronouns are he and him. And I'm my pleasure and honor is to welcome you, longtime visitors, longtime members, new visitors, people who are out church shopping, which I've done many times. You're welcome here. We're glad to see you. We're people of many beliefs, many origins, sexualities, genders, and love is the power that holds us together. Uh, we're all growing, we're all learning, and all loved. You're welcome here, just as you are. If this is your first time, it's our special privilege to welcome you. We're so glad you've come, and hopefully you'll learn what you came to learn, and there'll be plenty of opportunity to talk to members of the congregation after the service, and I'll be available, and there are other board of trustee members available here to talk with you also. If you have questions, let's talk. For those of you who are here in the sanctuary, we have hearing assistance devices and large print hymnals available. The hearing assistant devices are back there. I'm wearing my own personal one. That when I forget my hearing aids, I use the ones in the back and they work great. For our service this morning, we have an online chat chaplain. There are a number of people who join us every Sunday morning online, and they have their own facilitator. Hi out there. Thank you for joining us. Let's see, for your convenience and mine, the words of the hymns and various recitations that we make as we go through the service will be on the screen behind me, and I really appreciate that. You can find more information about the congregation on our website, tahomauu.com. We also have a weekly community newsletter called the E-News, which comes to your email. If you'd like to have it, please sign up. It has information about volunteer opportunities, coming events, and there's no need to miss anything. So please check it out. There is a lot happening. We have a few announcements. First up is that tomorrow on Labor Day, the membership committee invites any and all people to a work party here in the sanctuary just to spiff the place up. We'll be just making sure the hymnals are out where they need to be, and putting envelopes for contributions around where they need to be, and pencils to write on and stuff. So if several of us show up, it won't take long at all, and we'll get to see each other again, which is why I come. I come to see you. It just makes me feel good. So thank you for doing that. We're also having some organizing some circle dinners just to give us a chance to get together and get to know each other and talk in more depth. Some people will be circulating after the service to try to get you signed up. There you go, right there. Who else? Who else? Yay. Anyway, sign up if you'd like to come and have some nice feeling food and conversation. It's a a great chance to get to know each other. I think, Cindy, are we going to host one? Yes, yes, we are. Yes, we are. Please come. Please come. Cindy's a very good cook. Anyway, these dinners, it's our potluck in private homes or at the church building. If you'd rather be a host here at church, that'd be cool. Hosts typically provide the main dish and guests fill in with sides and vegetables. I didn't know this. I thought we did everything. Anyway, it's a potluck. That's cool. Also, if you're new to the congregation or to Unitarian Universalism, there is a Pathways to Membership class that occurs occasionally. Okay, Saturday, October 19th is the next class, so please think about that, put it in your calendar. And it'll include some introduction to Unitarian Universalism, plus we get to know each other better, which is my favorite part. Also, before COVID, we had a choir, and since then we are relying on Mary Ann to provide our music, which she does so wonderfully. But there is interest in forming a new choir. If you're interested in that, please come and talk with Lauren Blishinghoff, who I don't see this morning. So talk with me if you're interested, and we'll try to get you together with Lauren, and we'll have more musical participation. There's also a parent social group that is getting organized. It's very flexible. It could meet weekly, monthly, bi-monthly, depending on people's schedule and availability. It's open to parents, grandparents, stepmoms, single parents, anyone who is involved in the great mystery of raising a family and would like to share the adventure. Also, we need some more volunteers just to help orchestrate the process of the Sunday service. Some more people to be chat chaplains to help us connect with our online participants would be wonderful. There are various roles up front here that help the service go off as planned, and it's simple, doesn't take much time, and please consider helping out. Okay. Enough of that for the moment. Now an important introduction. We are in transition from Lauren, our administrator for the past many months, to our new minister, Han, who administrator, what did I say? Minister. Oh my, now that Han, I'm just getting to know Han and Han getting to know me, and I am struck by Han's what appears to be like natural administrative and organizing abilities, most of which I don't have, which you've already learned about from my performance this morning. But Han is here to keep me on the straight and narrow and to help us be as organized as we wish we were. And I invite you to give Han all the support that they deserve. So thank you for being here for me.
Thank you all very much. Thank you.
I think that about does it. What am I forgetting? Okay, batter up.
Ring the bell.
Ring the bell. That's not in the script.
We enter this meeting house for kindness and comfort. May rough, worn hands and aching backs be healed. We enter this meeting house of hope for equality. May those who labor to survive live to know justice. We enter this meeting house of love and vocation. May our bonds of solidarity be strengthened. We enter this meeting house of courage and friendship. May we proceed hand in hand towards freedom.
I'd like to invite Richard Horn to light our chalice this morning. Richard is a longtime member. We have a short wick. Usually we have digital technological problems. Now we need like a pair of pliers or something. Does anybody have needle nose pliers on them or a pair of tweezers? Needle nose pliers to the rescue. Yay. When we work together, we can accomplish anything. There probably should be somebody who's in charge of candles. One more committee. Yay. That's a flame. There's an exit here. And two over there. Thank you, Richard. Sorry, we didn't have that set up. So if you would join me in our chalice lighting words, we light this chalice in deep respect for the mystery and holiness of life, with honor and gratitude with those come before, with love and compassion for those who dwell among us, and with hope and faith for the generations to come. And now we are going to sing from the Teal Hymnal, Blue Boat Home 1064, one of our favorites. Please rise in body or spirit. Still my dry land
time for all ages. Anybody that wants to come up and share the story with me, feel free and come on up. Well, today is Labor Day, and so we're going to share a story about somebody that was involved in working for the rights of workers to keep them safe and protected. Now, this is a bit of a long story, and so I'm not going to share the pictures with you every page, but they will be on the screen up above me if you want to see the pictures. Thank you. For workers everywhere, and for Kathy. So, did we learn anything from the story? What did we learn? It is, yeah. But it shows that even girls, even kids, can do things and can be active in fighting for their rights and other people's rights. And while you guys go downstairs, we're going to keep talking about that this morning. And by you guys, I mean just Charles.
Good morning. We now come to the time in our service for our invitation to generosity. There are some baskets up in the sanctuary for our trans relocation project and our safe parking project. If you would like to donate to either of those, there'll also be some baskets passed around in the sanctuary. And then we have our website. You can go to tahomauu.com. Click on the Give button in the upper right-hand corner, and you can give your pledge. You can give to the general church. You can also give to either of those two special committees. We appreciate your generosity and know that nothing at this church happens without the sharing of the resources from each and every one of us in terms of our money and our time.
Please join me as we speak the words of dedication. We dedicate ourselves and our offerings to the work of this congregation, weaving a tapestry of love we call community, both within and beyond these walls. Our meditation hymn is number 351, A Long, Long Way, The Sea Winds Blow. It's new to us, so I've asked Marianne to play it through one time. It's in the gray hymnal, if you wanted to look at that. So Marianne will play it through one time, and then we'll sing 3 verses. So please rise in body or spirit. And our reading this morning is an excerpt from Love is the Measure by Dorothy Day. One? Oh, 1. Red one? Red one? Thank you, Remy. Technical difficulties. Thank you. What we would like to do is change the world, make it a little simpler for people to feed, clothe, and shelter themselves as God intended them to do. We can, to a certain extent, change the world. We can work for the oasis, the little cell of joy and peace in a harried world. We can throw our pebble in the pond and be confident that its ever-widening circle will reach around the world. We repeat, there is nothing that we can do but love. And dear God, please enlarge our hearts to love each other, to love our neighbor, to love our enemy as well as our friend.
Good morning. Today, the day before Labor Day. We already did a little bit of history work, as Charles mentioned. The story that we were talking about is, in previous century. And we're gonna do a little bit more history work here as we talk about Labor Day, what that means and where it comes from. Because we celebrate Labor Day on the first Monday of September. Interestingly, there are a number of countries throughout the world that celebrate Labor Day but most of them celebrate Labor Day on May 1st. And it's interesting that we have a different day for Labor Day. So what is it about May 1st that has solidified the rest of the world on the 1st of May as the day for Labor Day, or as it's called in many places, International Workers' Day? You see, the story of the 1st of May, of International Workers' Day, actually starts in Chicago in 1894, or sorry, in 1886. In 1886 was what is referred to as the Haymarket Affair. There were folks striking. There were protests and strikes authorized for the goal of an 8-hour workday. Began on Saturday, May 1st, and it continued for 4 days. On the 3rd day of this protest, May 3rd, well, one of the executives at one of the companies that was subject to the strike made some comments that, let's say, escalated the attitude of the protesters. There were conflicting reports about what exactly prompted what happened. But the police say that at the end of the workday, on the 3rd, as the bell for the scabs to go home rang, and the scabs started leaving the gate of the factory, that the protesters surged forward. In response, the police opened fire and killed 6 of the protesters. This, of course, did not sit well with many. And the next day, they moved the protest from the picket line in front of the factory to the town square, Haymarket Square. And there's some disagreement on how many people were at the protest. Some put it as low as mid-20s. Some say as high as a couple hundred. But the reports are it was so small, in fact, that the mayor walked by the protest, got bored of it within about 20 minutes and walked home. Protest lasted about 2 hours before the police showed up, demanding that the protest end. That, you see, the protest was disturbing the peace. As the police approached the protest, one of the protesters, well, escalated the situation. One of the protesters lobbed a fragmentation bomb at the police. And of course, the police responded, as the way the police does in situations like this. There were 2 workers killed in the ensuing gunfire. We don't have a number for how many were wounded, because it was generally seen that in the aftermath of this, anyone that got treated for the wounds would be arrested. So we don't know how many of them were wounded, but we do have numbers that say 6 police were dead and 60 were wounded. Reports indicate that most of those numbers were police that sustained injury because in the chaos, the police were shooting at the police. It was so chaotic that as soon as one person fired, another cop shot at the person that just fired, and then a cop shot at that guy, and you have chaos, and you have mass casualties. In the aftermath of this event, 8 of the leading members of that protest group were brought before the courts. 8 of them were tried for the bomb that was thrown at the police officers. In the courts, evidence was provided that 6 of those 8 weren't even at that square that day. All 8 of them were convicted, and 6 of them were hung. And this happened in 1886. As we move forward from this point, International Workers' Day was solidified by labor movements around the globe 3 years later in 1889 to commemorate, to mark the anniversary of the Haymarket Affair. And it became part of the movement for workers' rights, because all of this happened as part of the protest for an 8-hour workday. And so International Workers' Day, May Day, became a rallying cry around the world for continued labor movements to stress the need to keep fighting. But in America, the reverse happened. In the aftermath of this, the government, the police, corporations cracked down on the unions. They exerted more force against protesters. They shut down labor movements. It wasn't, in fact, until 1898, 12 years after the Haymarket Affair, that the first union earned the right to an 8-hour workday. The 8-hour workday wasn't, in fact, federally granted to most workers until 1937. And by the time the US decided that we needed to do something about Labor Day, there's this movement, there's this holiday happening around the rest of the world. We need to make sure that we are a part of this. By that point, International Workers' Day had developed what the US considered some undertones of socialism and communism and anti-capitalism and all of those things. So to make sure that the US didn't engage in that kind of discussion, we were given Labor Day as the first Monday in September. It's a good holiday, right? Like it's the end of the summer, right? It's school starting again. It's starting to get a little bit cooler outside. The day's shortening. It's a last good chance to have a good barbecue and put your feet up in a lawn chair and have some burgers and brats, right? Right? If we give America a holiday and some circuses and bread, then we don't need to worry about anti-capitalism, right? But it's actually interesting to me as we look back at the aftermath of that and the way that what happened in Haymarket Square on the 4th was used to shut down the labor movement for over a decade. Because you see, in America, most of us, we like things to be peaceful. We don't want people rocking the boat. Oh, that was a little bit, that bomb was a little bit too violent. It wasn't peaceful. See, we want peaceful protests, right? We don't want things getting too out of hand. And the discussion here actually reminds me of what I experienced a couple of months ago at General Assembly. We were having a discussion about the amendments to Article 2, right? The new values, right? The interdependence, equity, justice, generosity, transformation, pluralism, all petals around a center of love. And this passed, and I'm super excited for that. I'm very glad that we adopted this model. But in the process of coming to that conclusion, there were a number of amendments that were proposed. Ways we could tweak the new version. And one of the things that was proposed was that in addition to those 6, we add a 7th, and that was peace. That we put peace as another value around love. And that makes sense at face value, right? We certainly We don't want war. In the modern news, I'm sure a lot of us have a problem with what's happening in Gaza. None of us are fans of genocide. And so we had peace put forth. But there were a number of people that had a problem with that. They talked about how peace has repeatedly, over the years, been used to silence activists. Oh, calm down, you're disturbing the peace. Oh, we don't want to do it that way. Oh, but can your protest be more peaceful? Sit down, you're rocking the boat. But I'd like to quote activist Austin Channing Brown, who said, "I believe firmly that to practice love is to disrupt the status quo which is masquerading as peace." The argument was made in the General Assembly that if we hold peace as a value in and of itself, if we cling to peace and all we demand is a ceasefire, we haven't actually fixed any of the problems. We haven't actually worked on justice, on interdependence, on transformation. That if we do all of that work, then what we end up with is peace. But if we simply hold peace as a value that we must maintain, that it stops some of the work that needs to be done. At the start of the service, we sang Blue Boat Home. And then we just sang A Long, Long Way the Sea Winds Blow. And I love Blue Boat Home. I've been told everybody, most of the folks here like Blue Boat Home. It's such a beautiful song, right? But I think part of the beauty of that song, and we imagine in our heads with the visuals of this, right? It's similar to the way we think about Labor Day, right? It's this beautiful sky, just calm waters, out on this boat, relaxing in the sun. And it's this great, wonderful, beautiful, peaceful moment. But here's the thing. When you're talking about a sailboat, peaceful moments don't get you anywhere. If you're in a sailboat, you need wind. You need wind to move the boat. And you know what? The wind makes the water a little choppy. So if we're really about the work that needs to happen to make the world a better place, then we need to be willing to make waves. We need to be willing to disturb the peace. We need to be willing to accept that when someone else tells us that what we've been doing all along isn't quite right, we need to be willing to accept change. We need to be willing to let go of, but this is the way we've been doing it for the past 40 years. Because in those moments, are we really working for peace? Or are we just treasuring the status quo, masquerading as peace? So I would encourage you, as we move into the next week, to set an intention, to be deliberate about some things. As we look at Labor Day and we look at the struggle that's been needed, and we look at the changes that need to happen, and we look at the modern world, I would ask you not what waves you're willing to accept, not what waves you're willing to tolerate. I'm not even asking you to let other people rock the boat. What I'm going to ask as we approach Labor Day and we celebrate the working class and the work that is needed to make the country and to make changes, what waves are you going to make? How are you going to start manufacturing the waves that move us?
Our closing hymn is number 157 in the gray hymnal, Step by Step. The Longest March. Again, it's new to us, so Marianne is going to play through it one time. Step by step, the longest march can be won, can be won. Many stones can form an arch, singly none, singly none. And by union, what we will can be accomplished still. Drops of water turn a mill, singly none, singly none. Extinguish the chalice. Our closing words, what we call a beginning is often the end. And to make an end is to make a beginning. The end is where we start from. We shall not cease from exploration. And at the end of all of our exploring, we will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. Please join me in the words we use to extinguish the chalice when they appear on the screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of equipment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Stand for our closing blessing song.